Listen, Kilmar Abrego Garcia is a name that more people are learning how to pronounce correctly, even
Hmm.
over the past many, many days. He is not the only person who was snatched up off the streets of these United States and essentially, I think, sold into slavery. I feel like this is whole ass slavery. Like, this is slavery. What say you about what is happening here? I have been postulating, as have others, that this is really going to end up badly for black people. I know people are like, oh, you always trying to make this a race issue. I live in America. Everything is a race issue. Talk to us about what you are seeing from your end of the legal spectrum.
I think what everyone really needs to understand is that the Trump administration is not bringing Abrego Garcia back because they want him to be there, right?
Mm,
Like if they were really concerned that he was this MS-13 gangbanger and they needed to get him out of the country for the national security interests of the United States, then they could bring him back. They could use this procedure to undo this withholding of removal order that was entered by the Trump administration judges, the judges in the Trump administration in 2019. There's a procedure where you can go and be like, hey, we want to undo this process so that
right.
we can deport him to the very country you just said we can't deport him to because he's likely to be murdered by the very same gang that you're accusing him of being in, right? We need to be clear about what's happening. Abrego Garcia's family was harassed by gang members in El Salvador because they wanted Abrego Garcia to join the gang. So
Mm,
rather than have him join the gang, they sent him to the United States. And then the family had to move to Guatemala, where they continued to be harassed by this gang because they'd sent Abrego Garcia to the United States.
oh my
So
God.
the idea that he is a member of the gang that he was trying to escape is bananas in the first place. So a judge said, you know what? If you need to deport this man, you could probably do that. You just can't send him to this particular country. And that is the very country that Trump sent him to. If they're so concerned about this man being dangerous, they could bring him back, throw him in front of an immigration judge within a couple of days, and then
Right.
deport him anywhere else. Like Rwanda, for example, which is apparently now a country where we're going to start deporting people that we don't want in this
Which
country
is
and who can't be
really
deported.
sad because I was looking, Rwanda was on its way up. They've got so many women in leadership and they were doing great things, and I get to strike it off my list of potential places to flee.
Yeah. Yeah. So if Trump wanted to deport him legally, he could
Right.
do that. The reason
Right.
why he's not doing that is because he's basically using Abrego Garcia as a human loophole to see what he can get away with in
Mm.
terms of renditioning people to a foreign gulag with no due process. And what I think is really interesting about the way this case is being portrayed is that people keep talking about how, oh, he was illegally deported, or oh, these people are being illegally deported. They are being renditioned, right?
Mm.
They're not just being dumped. I mean, even yoking up people and dumping them off in a country not of their origin is horrible enough. But
Right.
these people are being yoked up and dumped directly into a foreign prison, into one of the most horrific prisons on the planet, a terrorism confinement center. These are people
Jesus.
who have not been convicted of any crimes in the United States. They've not been convicted of any crimes in El Salvador. We are just taking people and putting them into concentration camps with no due process. So it's not even really about deportation policy. It's about how far we are going to allow this government to go when it comes to renditioning people without any court hearings. And
And
so he's there because Trump wants him there. He's there because he wants Bukele to build five more open air prisons. They're going to be the most beautiful
the
prisons ever.
homegrowns, the
They're going to be great
homegrowns.
prisons. We're going to put all of
Great
our
person.
terrorists and the people we don't like in these prisons, right? He wants to put American, quote, homegrowns into prisons. Who are the homegrown criminals in this country?
The
Who do you think
homies,
white
the
people?
homeboys, the homegirls, the corner
Exactly,
kids.
right? This is a way,
Jesus.
and if you want to, if I want to bring it to my core issue, right? Repro justice and abortion rights. Maybe we're taking women who are just too prone to getting abortions, calling that a felony, and shipping them off to overseas so that we can make more room for, I don't know, South Africans, white South Africans who Trump wants to bring over to this country in droves so that they can help shore up the domestic supply of white infants, right? Like, I can connect anything to abortion and repro justice, right? And this is not a far-fetched thing, right?
Right.
Because already when it comes to voting, for example, right? They're trying to strip away the rights of all women to vote through the SAVE Act, but
Right.
certainly they want to continue to strip away the rights of formerly incarcerated people or incarcerated people. If we just start incarcerating all the people who hold values and ideologies that we don't like, then what's left?
Mm. Elon.
Yeah.
Elon is left. And
Elon
X.
and
With
his
little X.
71% profit decrease.
See,
That's
buddy,
so
I would
much.
rather have a conversation where you and I get to key over the fact that that man's wealth on paper has eviscerated and he has
Yes.
made a whole ass of himself. I'm
And
doing that in the
whole
second hour, but whoo, girl, I promise you, if you were here, we would key a lot. We would. But when it comes to what's happening with Kilmar Abrego Garcia, one of the things that I think people also forget is that he's one of many. There are now hundreds of people who have been renditioned, enslaved, if you will, for folks who are not familiar with the rendition. They're enslaved. Some of whom no one seems to have track of. I've now seen a number of reports where there are people who have just completely vanished. They're not in the United States. They're not in some weird purgatory space en route to El Salvador. They're not in El Salvador. They no longer exist in terms of
right.
who has knowledge of them. And it just seems to me like if we're gonna do, the whole little bridge too far conversation, it feels to me like this just a little. It's not. You don't even need a whole bridge to see how easily they could employ this sort of structure against your cousin,
Anyone,
who actually
anyone.
do have gang tattoos, who is actually gang affiliated with the gangs here in these United States. I feel like that's like right around the corner. You don't even have to take a bridge anywhere.
No, it's absolutely right around the corner. And they're used and how the courts and the media and the public react to Abrego Garcia is going to inform how far the Trump administration is going to be able to go. And polls are showing that we haven't even hit 100 days yet. We have
Right.
not hit
Right.
100 days yet. And already you're starting to see a pretty significant backlash against these policies, right? When you've got old white folks in Iowa
Mm,
yelling at Chuck Grassley about bringing the man from El Salvador back,
right.
there are problems, right? There are
Right.
white folks that are getting upset about this. And once you get the regular ass white folks upset, that's when I think you're going to start to see movement, right? I think
Mm-mm.
Senator Van Hollen I mean, honestly, I was real nervous for the guy. I was
Yeah.
real nervous because I was having
Yeah.
flashbacks to Congressman Ryan in 1970, whatever, in Jonestown. Like I really thought that they were going to go after this man. But he
Mm,
went and he had a meeting with Kilmar with Abrego Garcia, showed everyone that he was alive, and then he captured the news cycle for a week. He was on like
right.
six different Sunday shows on Sunday,
Right.
right? And so that's what I think people want to see when we talk about Democrats doing something. I feel like there are a lot of people who are like, well, what do you expect Democrats to do? They don't have the majority. They can't do anything. They can do exactly what Ayanna Pressley did when she went to go visit those two people who got yoked up out of Boston, what Van
Right.
Hollen did when he went to El Salvador. I mean, these are the things that people can do because that's going to capture the news cycle. That's going to end up on TikTok and on Instagram. That's how we inform people. And that's why you got white people in Iowa mad at Chuck Grassley. So I
Mm,
just really hope that Democrats can see what it is they can be doing to change the conversation and the narrative
mhm.
around his immigration policies because it's working. People
Wow.
are not approving of the way he's handling immigration. Now, whether
Right.
or not Trump cares about public opinion is an entirely different conversation. I mean,
Right.
if he's so far down the rabbit hole and he's going to do whatever he's going to do and he doesn't give a shit about what people think, fine. But this is a man who is very in tune with whether or not people like him, right?
Yes.
And
Yep.
if his own base are yelling about his immigration policies,
Right.
then maybe he's going to move on to something else. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Mm,
whoever's the last person to talk to him or to influence him, that's the direction he's going to go.
right.